Detroit Beard Collective is a proud sponsor of Creaking Door Paranormal Radio, powered by slackjawpunks.com.
Guys, tired of trying to make that burly beard of yours look and smell good? Then check this out. Straight out of the Motor City, where they know a thing or two about being tough, comes Detroit Beard Collective, specializing in making that facial hair look good with products like beard butter, beard oils and soaps, specialty combs, and so much more. Come check out the line today at DetroitBeardCollective.com. DBC takes pride in using Detroit and Michigan-based companies and ingredients in all aspects of their product development and manufacturing as they continue to build Detroit's premier grooming company. Even burly dudes like to look and smell good, and DBC will make that happen. Do yourself and your badass beard a favor and log on to DetroitBeardCollective.com and check out all the amazing products they offer. And when you're ready to check out, use promo code SJPDBC to receive 10% off. Detroit Beard Collective, cleaning this world up one beard at a time.
And welcome back inside Creaking Door Paranormal Radio, powered by slackjawpunks.com. Holiday edition. The holidays are upon us. Tim Ellis and Brad Blair with you as we are getting ready for the holiday season. Brad, it's we got real busy around September and October, so it's been a little bit since we've put out a new episode.
It has been. We've been on the road.
Mm-hmm.
We've been on the road pushing the
promoting the new book,
Supernatural Haunts.
Fun.
It's been a blast, and we want to thank everyone that came out for any of those talks that we've been doing.
You bet.
Finally wrapped that up a week or so back, and now we are back in the studio with Creaking Door.
Yes, and nothing like driving through snowstorms in the first couple of weeks in November. I'm glad that part's over with, but it was a lot of fun, and glad to be settled down now for the holidays and ready to get back into the studio as we are here. So a little bit different today, a little bit special.
We have a creeper.
Yes, we do have a creeper inside the Creaking Door. Somehow he broke in. He was sitting here when we walked in. We're like, Dustin, Pari, what are you doing in the studio?
I've been waiting for you guys. I figured I was around here. I might as well be a part of this.
Might as well. This is actually pretty cool for us, Dustin, because obviously you are our scheduled guest to be on with us, but because all of our shows actually have had to be done either by phone or via Skype, but you happen to be in our hometown for another event that we'll talk about here coming up. But it's really cool to have you actually in the studio with us. So thanks for taking time.
I appreciate it. I enjoy being in studio much more than being on the phone.
Yes,
it's a lot more personal, a lot more fun for sure.
I agree. So you're kind of getting behind the scenes look at just how uncool our show is.
I'll tell you what, I've listened to it before. I never knew you guys did it naked. This is interesting.
I thought that was just implied.
It's what our guru told us to do. We get in touch with everything better.
Yeah, it
that
feels
way.
natural.
Literally, yes. There's nothing natural about it. But again, Dustin Pari is with us. Of course, a star from Ghost Hunters International, and many other wonderful projects, which we're going to be talking about in the second segment, which is where we interview our guests. But since Dustin's here, we're not going to make him sit out in the lobby. I mean, he traveled this far. We might as well let him in the studio early. So you could be a part of it with us here, Dustin, as we get ready to do some para news and kind of see what else goes on here inside the Creaking Door.
Exactly.
Shall we do it?
Let's kick in.
Let's do it. Let's jump right into para news. And here's where we grab a couple stories that we like that are kind of fun out there and deal with the strange and the paranormal, much like the entire show here. So, Brad, go ahead and kick her off for us.
All righty. You're on the road all the time, Dustin. You travel a lot. Do you do the Airbnb thing, or are you mainly a hotel guy?
A couple of times I've been in the Airbnb. I'm always concerned about surveillance cameras. It's just weird. It's weird.
Yeah.
I always bring them in and leave them, but I never see any of it pop up on the internet. So, anyway, our first story comes from the head of Airbnb, talking a little bit about some of the strange reports that they've gotten.
Okay.
CEO Brian Chesky has opened up about the weirdest complaint a user has ever made, and it involves a debatably friendly ghost named Stanley. One day a customer calls us and says they want a full refund. We said, well, why do you want a full refund? And they came back with, because the house is haunted and there's a ghost in the house. Chesky's team needed to verify the claims and rang the host, assuming they would deny that their property was haunted, and lacking any supernatural photographic evidence, it'd be case closed. Well, unfortunately, the host confirms that the ghost says that it's friendly, a ghost named Stanley, and that the ghost Stanley is in the listing description. Chesky says, we read the listing, and Stanley is in fact mentioned. But much to the guest's disappointment, he was not the friendly ghost that was advertised in the listing. When Airbnb pointed this out to the spook guests, they clarified that their issue was not with Stanley's presence, but that he was not friendly. Yes, we knew about Stanley. That's why we booked it, Chesky says the guest reported. But Stanley has been harassing us all night. Chesky was at a loss. He said, how do you educate that? There's no playbook for this kind of stuff. Stanley, the ghost of questionable amicability.
There you go.
There we go. I got it.
Close enough.
Yeah. You know
I know where we're going with it.
He might be a nice ghost. He might not. So tops Chesky's list of strange Airbnb issues, but he says the company gets millions of customer calls daily, and many are, in fact, quite bizarre.
Well, first of all, with the name Stanley, it sounds like you're talking about your pet dog or cat, right? So, I mean, Stanley Ghost is not going to be mean, I wouldn't think.
Doesn't sound it.
No. But now with you, Dustin, again, you've traveled a lot. You've stayed in a lot of places, whether it be hotel or Airbnb. Have you ever experienced something that you thought, oh, all right, there's something here?
It's, sometimes the hotel, the innkeeper. I like the term innkeeper. Nobody uses it anymore. Sometimes
No, you're
the
right.
Innkeeper will be like, oh, I put you in the haunted room. It's like, I'm kind of off the clock right now.
Yeah,
Maybe
really. I don't
just
wanna
wanna
work.
Sleep, relax, But yeah, for sure. Especially when we did the international show, they used to always shove us like you would live in the haunted place for 2 weeks. So it's like it kind of wears on you after a while. It's like I just want to sleep at this point.
Right.
For sure. But I mean, it's a great selling feature. I mean, if you're trying to rent a room, if a lot of people are into that kind of stuff. As long as you have a safety word, I think it works.
Well, like in this case, when you rent the haunted room, you rent the haunted location because it is haunted, and then ask for a full refund because, I'll be damned, it was haunted.
Right.
Yeah, that's a little bit suspicious there.
Well, and, Brad, you and I have talked about this before in a lot of our talks. We have one segment where we talk about paranormal and the law.
Right.
When you're trying to sell a haunted house, if you're out there claiming your house is haunted, you have to reveal it to the people who are buying it.
Right. Disclosure.
So this kind of goes along the same lines, but it's not like they were trying to hide it.
No, they actually used it as a selling feature.
Right.
Which apparently is why these people rented it in the first place and then asked for a full refund.
So perhaps maybe if lesson learned, out of the description, take friendly out.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah. Just say Stanley's
Ghost.
Right. Stanley's here. It depends on how he feels that day.
He has a bad day just like all of us. Right, very good. Here's my first story here for Paranews. And again, Dustin, you're kind of a workout fiend. You probably get out there and do a lot of hiking when you can.
I do, yeah. I love hiking. I try to stay in shape. I eat a hell of a lot of pizza, so I just got to keep that off.
Well, hopefully you never get lost. But if you do, hopefully this can kind of be what happens, because after 10 days lost in the wilderness, a Taiwanese hiker found his way back home with a remarkable tale to tell. The alarm was first raised back earlier this month in November when a 60-year-old Sung Rayong failed to return home after going hiking in the mountains in southern Taiwan. An extensive search and rescue operation was quickly organized. 111 police officers and firefighters and 284 volunteers combed the region for any trace of him. After 10 days of unsuccessful searching, it looked grim. But then, much to everyone's surprise, Soon suddenly reappeared and was taken to the police station by a local villager. After thanking authorities for their efforts, he explained that he had survived after his rations had run out by eating natural sugars from plants and drinking water from the stems. But he said the most interesting thing of all this was how he managed to find his way to safety. According to Soong, while hopelessly lost in the mountains, he was approached by a kind couple that showed up out of nowhere who led him back towards civilization. He had remained with them for over 2 hours as they walked through the woods, but then suddenly at one point turned to discover that the couple had completely disappeared. And after a brief search for the couple, he found his path back down the mountain. He believes that the couple who guided him were actually the ancestor spirits of 2 indigenous Taiwanese people who once lived in the region. So, cool story, happy ending.
Very nice.
Friendly ghosts.
Friendly ghosts, yes. And,
the type you would want in your Airbnb.
Very true, very true. But you've heard stories about this, where hikers go off, and a lot of people share stories of what they believe was their guardian angel or their spirit guides coming through. So
you also have to wonder about what kind of plants he was eating.
Well, that's just
There's that as well.
And or even lack of food. Your body and your mind start to do weird things.
Yeah.
But he found his way out.
He found his way out from apparently a couple, too, which is kind of cool. You don't expect to see a husband and wife just appear
till
while you're
death do
lost,
us part.
I guess.
After that, no, you're good to go.
No,
so happy ending there in Taiwan.
Awesome.
Based on ghosts.
So 2019, it's been kind of a big year for the UFO crowd.
It's kind of really had a resurgence, the UFO field.
It seems to,
Big.
and I think a big part of it was the Navy coming out and actually admitting that a lot of this stuff does happen. And that's where our next story takes us. Some people that actually had some Navy officers who had their evidence, shall we say, confiscated by some unknown individuals.
The video that was released was pretty impressive.
There have been a few out now, and even here in northern Michigan, there were some interesting video clips that were taken over Lake Superior this summer, too. But I digress. So anyway, in this one, several Navy officers who witnessed the now famous Nimitz UFO encounter in 2004 claim that unknown individuals showed up after the event and made them turn over the data recordings and videos. This according to an article in Popular Mechanics. For several days in November 2004, a Navy missile cruiser sailing around 100 miles off the coast of Southern California detected strange radar signals emanating from an object in the sky. The signals were erratic and didn't seem to match those given off by known aircraft. The Navy then deployed fighter jets to catch a closer glimpse of the strange object, and one successfully recorded a blurry black and white video that was, to the government's chagrin, publicly released in 2017, along with 2 other videos of UFO sightings from years later. 5 Navy veterans recently spoke to Popular Mechanics about what they experienced at the time. The veterans were part of the Navy's Strike Carrier Group 11 and were sailing on the USS Princeton on a training mission prior to their upcoming deployment in the Arabian Sea. Strange radar signals came from an object that would quickly change altitudes, some lurking at 80,000 feet, other times hanging around 30,000 feet. The UFO became known as Tic Tac because of its shape. Tic Tac gave off a phosphorus glow at night and would dart around in various directions, said one of the veterans. Voris recalled that sometime after the officers recorded these strange radio signals, 2 people showed up. 20 minutes later, his chain of command told him to turn over the data recorders. Command also took him and deleted the recordings on the ship. They even told me to erase anything in the blank tapes. Similarly, Petty Officer Patrick P.J. Hughes, who was an aviation technician, claimed that his commanding officer and 2 unknown men asked him to turn over the hard drives from the plane. So, kind of interesting. Kind of an X-Files feel to
Well,
that.
the military version of the Men in Black almost.
Really is. Yeah, showing up and, not just showing up at people's houses knocking on the door.
Right.
We're talking about people showing up on military bases and claiming this. So.
That's always interesting, too. I mean, because the videos have been fantastic. And
Yes.
all the ancient alien stuff is really kind of brought a lot of stuff. I mean, there's a lot of weird theories and stuff, but it brought a lot of it to the forefront. And the Tic Tac video and the other Navy video that was released that they talk about, I think just kind of brought it to the forefront, made people talk about it more. But to think that, government officials aren't going to give up anything.
Right.
But then yet somehow they know, okay, these are serious people. We have to give them what we have and delete them. That's insane.
Yeah, it really is, which of course just makes you, the video itself made you raise an eyebrow and whoa.
Yeah.
And now you hear this and it's okay, there's something that they didn't want out there anymore.
Yeah.
But now it's showing up more, and they're releasing the fact that yes, this was there. They're letting it out publicly. It's interesting. It seems like they've taken a complete 360 on this and turned about, and they're now heading maybe more towards disclosure.
You keep hearing people saying that they think we're heading that way, and I would like to think we are. I'm a firm believer that the government knows a lot more than they're saying.
Absolutely.
I mean, how do you not be the government of one of the biggest countries in the world and not have some idea?
Yeah,
or
for sure.
Information. So we'll see. What's your thoughts on UFOs, Dustin?
I'm a big fan.
Yeah.
I don't have the ability to sing to them and make them appear in the night sky, but I do enjoy reading about them and looking for them. There was a time I was coming out of a lecture, college lecture one night, and I was driving to wherever the next stop was, and this is the first time I ever seen anything, and it was just long, straight road, and in the night sky, it looked almost the shape of an eyebrow, just lit up in the sky and went from red to white, and then shot off to the side. And I was with my buddy Cody a couple of years ago. We were driving out of a lecture one night. We were up in Massachusetts and heading back, and it looked almost like a Tiffany lamp, like this weird light, in the sky, and then just gone. And so there's been a couple of times I've seen stuff that I just can't explain. I definitely believe there's life out there somewhere else.
For sure.
In terms of what our levels of interaction, how it's maybe embedded with our government or whatever. Who knows? But John Tenney knows. I always
if anyone knows.
When in doubt,
or
default
Andrea.
to Tenney. Yeah, for sure.
Well,
for sure.
Not certain Tenney's not an alien.
That's very true.
Possible. That's how he gets all the inside info.
Yeah, anyone who can wear a trench coat as much as he does.
It is impressive.
And have clothes on underneath.
Yeah, that's right.
It's got to be alien. All right, so here's the final story of Paranews here, this edition of Creaking Door. And this isn't really paranormal by any means, but just one of those stories that really caught my attention. And, of course, it's coming out of the Old Testament of the Bible. And a lot of people say, are the stories from the Old Testament, did they actually happen in life? Because if you've ever read the Old Testament, it's fascinating. They talk about giants, and they talk about, well, of course, Jonah and the whale, a guy who went into a belly of a whale and got himself out, and even Noah's Ark, and that's what this story is about. Did they really build an ark that saved mankind and animal kind from a flood? But the final whereabouts of the biblical vessel have long remained a topic of heated debate among historians, with many unable to agree upon whether or not it actually existed. Now, among those who do believe that the story of Noah actually happened, some maintain that the ark has already been found at the Durpinar site of Mount Tendurik in eastern Turkey. Now, the large vessel-shaped formation first gained attention back in 1959, and there have been numerous expeditions to the site over the years by archaeologists hoping to prove that it really is Noah's Ark. Now, a film crew headed up by veteran Ark hunter Sem Searstein has reportedly visited the site with modern imaging equipment, and they say they have obtained 3D images, finally, of the alleged vessel that lies underneath the ground. So they're going to release it, called Noah's Ark 2, because apparently he put out a documentary already called Noah's Ark, and he said it should be released. Noah's Ark came out in 2017. I've never heard of it or seen it.
Been waiting for the sequel ever since.
Well, here we go. It's coming. Noah's Ark 2. I don't think this one stars, what's his face, who started in the first one?
DiCaprio?
No. No, but he might as well see. He could be in it. What's his face?
In the first one.
The first Noah's Ark movie.
Boy.
He was in...
Noah.
It was Noah. It was Russell Crowe.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
He was in that?
Yeah, he played Noah.
Damn. Huh.
Yeah. You put a beard on him, you don't know it's him.
No.
You're thinking of Gladiator.
There we go.
Yes. But anyways, so the new documentary called Noah's Ark 2 is supposed to be released soon, and they say it is definitive proof, 3D imaging, that Noah's Ark is somewhere in Turkey. That's where most people have been looking for it. Is over in the Turkey area. Yeah, and up on one of the mounts. I even thought Mount Ararat or something was one of them too. But they kept checking the mountains in Turkey, and this guy says he has found it.
Well, the nice thing is with the 3D technology, now we can print a new one.
Yeah, that's right. We can
Piece
build
by
them. You're
piece.
absolutely right.
Yeah.
Those 3D printers are great, but I don't know if we have one that big yet.
Yeah,
But
it's little pieces.
yeah, exactly. One plank at a time. We'll do it. All right, there we go. There's your stories for Para News. We are going to take a break. When we come back, the gentleman you've already heard in the studio with us, Dustin Pari, is going to be our guest, and we're going to talk things all Dustin Pari, and right around the holidays too. One of his favorite times. So.
Please don't,
And his
please don't
favorite
go
topic.
away.
Stay. We'll be right back. This is Creek and Door Paranormal Radio, powered by SlackJawPunks.com. Think of Michigan's Upper Peninsula as this scary attic sitting there above the rest of the state. I can think of no better guides to take you inside the history and lore than the guys of the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society. Those are the words from writer and lead researcher for the hit TV show Ghost Adventures, Jeff Belanger. For over 20 years, the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society has dedicated their lives to researching the paranormal. And now, some of their favorite cases are brought to life on the pages of their debut book, Supernatural Haunts. Come inside these pages with the team as they share intimately the history of each location and their experiences during their investigation. Learn their techniques and some of the most intense moments they have faced. True stories and true accounts of ghosts await you inside the pages of Supernatural Haunts by the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society. Get your autographed copy today at www.supernaturalhaunts.com. Welcome back inside Creek and Door Paranormal Radio. Tim Ellis, Brad Blair with you. And as you know by now, no surprise who our special guest is inside the Creek and Door for this episode. It is the one, the only, the incomparable, Mr. Dustin Pari.
Something like that.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hello again.
It's very good to have you in. So,
Thank you.
As we explained in the opening segment, we've never had a chance to actually have one of our guests in the studio with us because we're always either on the phone or on Skype. So this is nice to actually be able to be face-to-face and chat. But
You never forget your first, Tim.
That's right. You never do. And I'm glad yours is mine.
Thank you, sir.
So anyways, let's talk about why you're here in Sault Ste. Marie, in our hometown. It's not August. It's not Michigan Paranormal Convention. You're here but for a very special reason.
Yeah, why are you here?
Yeah, really, by the way.
I'll tell you, it feels very strange being here. It's always nice coming up here to be a part of MI Paracon.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm staying over at the casino. And last night I went to get a grilled cheese like around 1 a.m., which is normal during, Paracon time.
weekend, yeah.
And it was great because no one was there. There was no line. And the people still knew me. They're like, Dustin, like, what are you doing here? I'm like, I know, it's weird, right?
That's cool. That's really
yeah,
cool.
I'm up here to do a series of motivational lectures for the community and for the schools, middle schools and high schools and everything. Is the motivational work is a big part of who I am and what I do.
Yeah.
Kind of use a little platform I have from the paranormal and the TV shows to try to put a little good out there.
Yeah, I mean, anyone who's ever sat through one of your paranormal talks, you always stay very on the positive side, the motivational side of that, and how it's, I think you've said before, we're all energy. We're all in this journey together.
Right.
So let's support each other. So you've kind of taken that and you've transformed it into motivational.
Yeah, I've made it a topic that everyone can talk about. The ghost stuff is great, and I love all the weird things in the world. But I think kind of tying into the fact that we're all here together, that we're all spirits in this human experience, and looking for opportunities to lift each other up and help each other out and everything. And it all works. It's fun though. Even with the paranormal stuff, like I like putting in the motivational thing because I've had people come up to me. They're like, I came here for ghost stories, but you gave me something that I really needed, and and that really resonated with me, which made me want to do this kind of stuff more.
Yeah, absolutely. You never know, especially when you're talking in front of a crowd that big. someone out there at that moment is needing to hear something.
Yeah, for sure. Especially as paranormal people, right? A lot of us are freaks and geeks.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's exactly the point I was just going to make. There's a lot of people that show up at these paranormal events that are really consider themselves to be on the fringe, whether they be goth or if they have psychic abilities, something different that makes them stand out. I know Tim and I talk all the time about how we were the weird kids growing up. We were the ones that were always into the ghosts and Bigfoot and UFO and anything that was strange and out there, and you end up kind of maybe even setting yourself as an outcast to a point with this, but at some point that can catch up to you, and I think it does a lot of people in this community, and that's where it's great to have somebody like you to turn all of that around and show the positives in it.
Yeah, for sure. It's interesting. Tenny and I did a presentation one year, actually up here in the Sioux, and it was about how the paranormal people a lot of times because of our T-shirts with skulls and all that stuff, we think we're a culture that's obsessed with death, but actually we're obsessed with life and the idea of what goes on after this and our energy going forward. And but I think a lot of times we kind of stereotype ourselves, and because I was in that weird back table with the cafeteria in high school, with my mullet and my skull T-shirts, my death metal music, and talking about ghosts and stuff. And but there's a lot of good people that we just like weird stuff, and that's okay. It's good. We shouldn't all be doing the same thing. It's boring as hell.
Yeah. You got that right. Yeah, absolutely. So let's, before we get more into the paranormal side of things here, Dustin, but let's stay on topic a little bit with your talk that you're going to be giving.
I can never stay on topic. I apologize.
I'm reeling you in, brother. No, so let's, but talk a little bit more about the Magical Mystery Box and how that works.
Sure.
Tell us, give a little insight.
So I've got a series of different motivational lectures. One of my favorite ones is the Magical Mystery Box. And my wife, I always joke that she calls it my big box of crap. But it's it's a box that's filled with a bunch of just random stray items, some broken little things and knickknacks and toys and whatever. But each one has a story to it, and my brain works a little bit differently than most people. I fell down 32 slate stairs when I was a kid and cracked my head open. They put me back together pretty enough where I could be on television, but the brain doesn't always work normally. And so things always remind me of something else, and I don't like to do presentations where I'm sitting there reading stuff to people. Yeah. So the mystery box is nice because it's never the same lecture twice. I throw different things in and out of the box. I invite people out of the audience to come up and take something out of the box, and that guides us how we're going to go. And we don't have to get through every item in there, and so we just do whatever the night comes up with, and each story is motivational and uplifting in its own way. And I think a lot of times there's things that we don't even realize resonate with us, and somebody will choose an item and that story really ties into what they're going through. So it's one part paranormal, one part spiritual, one part motivational, and it's good times. All
especially
magic
around the holidays right now. I gotta believe this is something that ties in really nicely with that.
Yeah, for sure. And I do have I have a Thanksgiving edition of the Mystery Box, a Christmas edition of the Mystery Box, and it's a time of year that should be festive and fun and full of love and laughter, but it can be very dark for a lot of people. People have lost others, especially if you lose somebody around the holidays. It's really, really tough, and it's also a time where we can very much feel kind of isolated too, because you see other people that are having a lot of fun and they're in love and they've got family and there's gifts and they have money for things, and you're like, man, how come I don't feel like that? And then it feels almost magnified because everybody else is so damn happy and all the Hallmark movies are on, and it's like, why do I feel sad? And it's okay to feel that way, and I think it's good for people to be able to talk about those feelings, because I think that gives you a little bit of ownership of your feelings too. And it's also nice to see there's other people that are going through the same kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Now you're kicking into a stressful season yourself. You're buying a new home.
Yeah.
And you are moving in the week of Christmas.
Right.
Oh, my
Indeed.
goodness. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
So you might need a little Magical Mystery Box time to yourself here.
I'll tell you what, man. I already told my wife, I said, listen, just because we're moving to a place the week of Christmas, don't think I'm not decorating. I already have all our current Christmas stuff boxed up separately, because when we hit that new house, I want to hit the ground running. I want the neighbors to be like, oh, damn, the Griswolds moved in. Like, I've got the lights, I've got all the lawn ornaments, the reindeer, everything's ready to go.
This is perfect. When you pack pack everything to move, you can just put that in Christmas wrapping paper.
That's right.
And you and your wife and daughter can open up all the stuff you've already got for
That's
Christmas
right.
Day. It's like an explosion.
that is going to be stressful, but exciting at the same time.
Yeah, for sure. It's a good time to start new things, With the festive time of year. I'm going to have a fireplace for the first time ever.
Nice.
Hopefully I don't burn anything down, but I'm very excited about, finally having the right place for Santa to show up. So
Well, and anyone who follows you on social media, you're a huge fan of the holidays. You love the
for
holidays.
sure.
You listen to Christmas music in the middle of the summer.
Yep. Makes me very happy.
One of those people.
Yes, indeed. Hey.
So I was going through your website, though, DustinPari.com, and I see actually one of your presentations. You have already a busy schedule. Lessons learned from A Christmas Carol.
Oh, yeah.
That's cool.
That's one of my favorites. Yeah, I try to make a new Christmas one every year. That one I think I started last year, but we got a couple of bookings for it this year. And A Christmas Carol, that story, the Dickens classic, has always meant so much to me growing up. We used to go, I remember in 5th grade, they brought us in the little field trip, and we went to the local theater, Trinity Rep, to see them perform this. And right then I was like sold on it. Like, this is amazing. And it's been a tradition that every year, since I was 16, I've gone to see this play. Wow. And they always change it a little bit and stuff, and it's always nice, but the story means so very much. The idea of transformation and hope, and also that human struggle. I think it's all nicely represented in there. Plus there's ghosts too, so there's a little bit of everything. But I'll tell you, there's 2 lectures I can barely get through without getting emotional. It's Lessons Learned from A Christmas Carol, and I have one called It's a Wonderful Lecture, based on It's a Wonderful Life. And those 2 stories, for some reason, really just touch me at the core, and I just feel like this is a great time of year to think about. It gets inundated with all the plastic things and the gifts and the nonsense and the jewelry and all those things, and it's nice if you can afford it and you want to buy something for somebody, for sure. But I think what really comes down to is what's inside of us.
Yeah.
And that opportunity for transformation and for love and giving, I think, is just so beautiful. And so it's nice to bring that back to the forefront.
I just saw an ad. It might have been AMC. They're redoing. It's coming out this December, A Christmas Carol,
It's
and it
dark
looks
and
like
scary.
It's more of a ghost story.
Yeah.
It's more of A Christmas Carol is a ghost story at its heart.
Yeah.
This one looks a little creepier though. I'm kind of looking forward to it. Honestly,
Me too. I think it's the
haven't seen this
19th that's coming out or something like that. Somewhere in mid-December. It looks amazing.
Okay, I just saw this last night.
Yeah.
And it's being released right to TV, AMC?
Yeah. Oh, yes.
Oh,
It's
love
being
it.
made for TV.
Yeah.
So
Love it. All right.
Not one of the big theater releases for the holidays, which
Right.
we talked a little bit about before we got into this segment off air. You've got Mr. Rogers. You've been wanting to see. You've got a great little story on that, too.
Yeah, so I'm a big fan of Mr. Rogers growing up, coming out of the 70s and stuff. That was, great programming for a kid. And I've been reading his biography for a little bit. I fly around a lot, so it's usually when I get my time to read. And fantastic stuff, just about the way he used media to get his message out there, and always taking care of kids and kindness, which resonates with me. So I've got a little motivational YouTube series that we did last year called Hey, Got a Minute? And there's 60 episodes. They're only 2 to 3 minutes each because we're very busy in our life, although I still have some family members that tell me they don't have time to watch it, which is great. I'm like, they're 2 to 3 minutes long. But yet there's some girl out there, with a 20-minute makeup tutorial, and 2 million people have watched it. Yeah, it's amazing. So we haven't gone viral yet, but we made 60 of those. We're doing another 60 for Hey, Got a Minute. They release on January 1st. And but one of them talks about Mr. Rogers in a song from one of his episodes. And a friend of mine actually loaned to me one of the authentic Mr. Rogers sweaters, and there's the dress shirt and the little blue shoes that he had. Yeah, and it's all authenticated from PBS, and I get to wear it in this episode of Hey, Got a Minute. So it was like magical putting it on.
How did that feel putting that on?
Yeah,
Did
it was.
You actually feel like an energy.
I'll tell you, there was something to it. It's like just thinking about it. I was like, wow. I wonder if I wonder if he was wearing this when I watched it. As a kid. Like, who knows? It's really cool.
Wow.
Yeah, it was one of the old ones with the buttons, because then you changed the zipper at some point through. Yeah,
That's right.
So,
yeah.
but
I didn't watch that that closely.
Yeah, I'm all about wardrobe. I mean, I did wear an upside down visor for years on TV. Obviously,
That's very true.
Fashion icon.
So check that out on YouTube.
Too bad you didn't still have the mullet while you were wearing the upside down
right?
visor. That would have topped it.
If I ever return to television, maybe that's what we'll do.
That would have been over the edge.
But check it out on YouTube. Hey, got a minute. Make that go viral. I got to believe it's much more deeper than the 20-minute tutorial on makeup.
I'd hope so. I hope so.
If not, you can always do that next
Yeah, I might have to. There is a lot of face paint in season 2.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that right?
It's not makeup, it's face paint, of course.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Excellent. You doing some stuff for Kiss then?
Well, not Kiss this time around, but David Bowie
Excellent.
and The Crow. Yeah.
Oh,
Good
The
times.
Crow.
Yeah, I love The Crow, right?
The Crow. One of my
Good
favorite
stuff.
movies of all time.
Amazing.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about then. I mean, we're up to modern times now with you, Dustin Pari, and what he's doing. You're doing Hey, Got a Minute. You're out there doing the lecture series. What else is going on in your world right now?
Oh, I don't know. It's I'm always busy. I'm always doing a little bit of everything. We keep the day job locked down in healthcare, and we travel around a lot doing paranormal lectures. Still do local investigations with just one of my buddies.
Okay,
and still something I'm really passionate about. Been offered a bunch of TV, but nothing that I would watch, so I won't be on it. And
Good for you for sticking with that.
I appreciate it. It's just, and it's not like I'm not trying to be cocky or anything, but like, I've had the opportunity. It was an incredible ride. I'm very thankful for it. It allowed me to travel to 27 countries and see a lot of the world, a lot of culture, and meet a lot of people. I've got friends in every state I go to. From conventions, and so many people I've been able to be a part of their lives, and they become a part of mine. But I'm not in a rush to just throw away my credibility or what I believe in just to be back on television. So,
Good for you.
Well, and you mentioned all the travel. Ghost Hunters International, of course. Where does the burnout come in that?
Yeah,
I mean,
for sure.
that's got to be
That one had
taxing.
to have been tough.
It was tough, especially at the time. My daughter was just around a year old, and you want to be home, and you're on the road for 2 months at a time. And it was maybe 10, 11 years ago, but technology isn't what it was now. I remember being in Tasmania, waiting in line with my laptop behind the production members to plug into the one dial-up internet cable they had at the front desk, just so you could send an email home. There was no FaceTime or anything. You might be able to get on Skype if you're in a good country and you got wireless and stuff. So it was very, very difficult, and I really missed it. I missed being home, so that's why we had to quit all that stuff. So now, though, my daughter's about to be a teenager, and I could probably go on the road and nobody would care.
Yeah, because Dad's not as cool anymore.
No,
right?
Dad's not as cool anymore, so I got to renew my cool stuff and just send the checks home so we can buy more stuff from Sephora.
I do want to ask you though about that time when you were filming Ghost Hunters International, and I probably think of this more than most people because I love food, and I often wondered how you guys ate on the road like that when you go to these countries where sheep intestines is like a delicacy and you just want a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
What would you guys do? Did you have food flown in, or did you have to eat the culture that you were at?
I am very picky. I don't like seafood. I don't like Mexican food. I get a lot of issues with my stomach, so I would always pack a box of Pop-Tarts that I would take with me everywhere, and then as soon as I get to the country, I'd buy bread, peanut butter, and jelly, and I would keep that in my room so that if I couldn't get a pizza, at least I had something to fall back on, because it was rough sometimes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I'm not into they were eating duck eggs with actual little ducks inside them. No thanks. Hamsters down in Peru, nope.
Hamsters.
Yeah. Guinea pig
Can't
or whatever.
Be very filling.
Yeah,
I wouldn't think so.
No, a lot of
rice.
bones.
You eat it, you're hungry again.
Yeah. No thanks. I wasn't into any of that stuff. No.
Anything else like that you remember?
No, I try to stay away from all of it, man. Yeah, just give me mozzarella sticks, give me pizza, give me pasta.
Did you have some people on the crew though who loved?
Oh yeah. I remember Barry Fitzgerald.
Yeah.
I remember him being actually looking at I think it was in Peru. I think it was a guinea pig or whatever. And he's like, "Oh, look, Mr. P, you can see this little man purse right there." I'm like, "Oh my God!"
Oh, that's
I'm like,
horrible.
"Stop it, Barry." But he was always creepy with that kind of thing.
Oh man, that gives me flashbacks from a trip I took to Romania.
Yeah,
It
you were
was
over that, right?
Head cheese and blood sausage.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to the point. I lost 10 pounds being over there for a week and a half.
And
Just
that
Romania
you
is
were still
tough.
drinking like a pig.
Oh wow, you needed sustenance.
Yeah,
So there was decent beer.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, there was.
we finally figured out that it's funny you brought up pizza, because that was the one thing that we got to the point you could always get a decent small person,
Somewhere.
because that's over there in Europe mainly too. It's pizza's not a family dish; it's a small personal. So we found that most places we went, we could get that. But yeah, the further out of Bucharest you went, the slimmer the pickings were, and a lot of it was I hate to say recycled animal parts, not things that you would normally eat.
Sure.
Yeah,
In
just
the US.
parts.
Parts.
Romania's tough.
Pieces and parts. Romania was for food and cuisine, not a foodie paradise.
My favorite thing in Romania, they had a place called Gogoasa Inferiata, which translated meant the angry donut. And they were basically like fried donuts, like we have jelly donuts, but they were filled with like chocolate pudding or vanilla pudding, and they were warm. And you just go to the window in the morning and get them,
So
man.
it's a fresh Pop-Tart.
Oh, exactly. It was my favorite part of Romania. So good.
Ursus beer and God, what was liquor that we drank as a probiotic almost? Palinka.
Kept your gut clean.
It was basically gasoline.
Yeah.
You did a shot before a meal, so you
Keeps
didn't
you
get
alive.
poisoning. So
That's tough.
the funds of traveling abroad.
Was there one go-to food you would, as soon as you got back to the States, you're like, I'm getting it. On my way home from the airport, I'm picking this food up.
Oh man, I don't know. It's I love you know me. I love my desserts and stuff.
Yes.
I love my pie. A nice grilled cheese and bacon always goes well. But hot dogs. You know. I remember being in Sweden.
Speaking of pieces and parts of
Right,
animals.
for sure. But we do it good here in America.
Right.
I remember being in Sweden once, and it's kind of like it is, here in the Sioux and also back home in New England. Very dark and very cold for most of the year. And I remember being in a gas station at like 4:00 in the afternoon. It's pitch black out, and they have those, that hot dog that's been rolling on the rollers for the longest time. But like they were like very seafood heavy, so I was like, well, I'll just eat the hot dog, and then I was trying to explain to the guy I wanted ketchup. There's no ketchup, and he gives me like what looks like we would normally squeeze ketchup out of.
Yeah.
But there's like this white sauce that comes out. I was like, I don't know what that is, but I don't want it on my hot dog. It was like I'm wiping it off with a napkin because they wouldn't give me another hot dog because now I've already purchased this one. I was like, I don't know what the white sauce was, but I was not eating it, man. No way.
Oh, man.
Little
the
tartare?
difference in culture.
Yeah, no
Yes.
thanks.
Yeah,
Give me
tartare.
good old American hot dogs, please.
How was the hot dog in itself?
It was okay. It was a little browner than most of the ones here, but it was all right. It's all right.
All right, so books now. What is are you authoring any new books? right now?
Yeah. We've got, I think, 5 that we've already put out. I'm going to write 2 more. I'm not working on any paranormal books currently. I'm kind of focused on, I want to do one straight up motivational book. And that one I'm about halfway through. And I'm basically taking a lot of my concepts that I've written on Twitter and everything, which is where I put a lot of my messages out. But I don't want to be limited to those characters, So I put the message out there, and then I kind of explain on the next page and a half, what that means. And hopefully that'll give some people some inspiration, And then I have another one that's going to be my first ever fiction book, and it's a wonderful look into my brain and all the weird stuff that goes on in there because it's a dang mess. But it's like Wizard of Oz, and it's I almost said Harry Met Sally. It's nothing like Harry Met Sally, but it's a lot like the Wizard of Oz and Alice in Wonderland, and there's all these wonderful characters, and it's like exploring the magical mystery box, and so there's a lot of motivation in there, but hidden in a wonderful, colorful, weird LSD style Beatles trip, but there's no drugs involved, kids.
Love it. So, what you kind of have a time frame for?
Yeah, I'm hoping to get them. Out by spring or summer of 2020. So a lot of it has to go through my editor first. My good friend Jessica down in Atlanta, she edits all my stuff. God bless her. I don't know how anybody else can do it because I talk and run on sentences. I write and run on sentences. That's how I think. So it's like, here's a paragraph, and it's one sentence. Figure it out. But she's done a great job with all my books and making sure that my voice still stays in it. So it's when you read my stuff, it's like you're talking to me. Yeah. So there's going to be a lot of stuff on her plate, but hopefully in spring or summer of 2020.
Now, the titles that you already have out there, are those still available? Can you get those on Amazon or on DustinPerry.com?
Yeah, all the links
if
are...
somebody wants them for Christmas, where do they go?
Yeah, Christmas indeed. DustinPerry.com has links to all of them on my books page because you can get them through Amazon, but, there's always people selling used copies for like crazy amounts of money. I'm like, you can get them new a lot cheaper, But so if you go to DustinPari.com, it has all the links for him, and What's Next, and The Devil Shivered. These books Kaleidoscope is the newest one. They're all kind of like weird little insights to my life, and The Devil Shivered I wrote every day for a year. People seem to really like that one. It's a lot of behind the scenes stories from ghost hunters and stuff, but it's a lot of, people often, I give them advice like, oh, well, if it was just that easy, you're on TV, it's easy. I'm like, no, it's not. So in The Devil Shivered is like day to day, like here I am grinding it out, working the day job, sleeping in my truck in between filming ghost hunters and like trying to stay alive, Yeah. And so I wanted people to get a feel of that. But and What's Next seems to really motivate a lot of people to find what's next in their life. And so there's a lot of good stuff that's out there. And then, Barry and I did write a couple of paranormal books together and stuff. So they're there as well. But yeah, I love writing. I like just letting people know what goes on in my head, because Lord knows there's a lot.
Do you ever, speaking of Barry Fitzgerald, do you and him still keep in touch?
Yeah. We talk every once in a while. He's out in the UK still, and he got married and settled down, and he renovated a church to live in, because God forbid you just buy a house. He's that's awesome. But he was running like different paranormal tours, and he did some UK television and everything. So he's a great guy. I really enjoy working with him.
I think we had Barry on the. I think it was one of the first shows we ever did. We had
he
Barry
and Cormac
on.
Strain.
Right.
Yeah, we had them on together. They had just released a book together. It's like it might have been our inaugural show.
It was within the first two or three.
It was one or two, yes. I believe. Yeah. So, but it's been a while since we've had a chance to talk with Barry.
Yeah, he's written a ton of books. Good stuff too. A lot of good ideas he has.
Yeah. Yeah, he's got one of those brains
outside
that really
the box.
thinks outside the box.
Yeah, for sure.
So he's always...
you just sit around and drink Jameson with him. He says all kinds of stuff. It's like, what the heck is going on?
Oh, that's fun. Bradley, anything else from you, or should we? Is it time to untie Dustin from the chair and let him go?
Yeah, I think we're good. We've got we're going to be hanging out with Dustin for a couple of days yet here.
That's right. You guys will be sick of me soon enough.
Stalking him throughout the public school systems here.
Well, here's the good deal. If you want to catch up on everything Dustin Pari, go to his website, DustinPari.com. You can check out all the lectures he's got coming up, and like I said, Dustin, I was already on there looking. You've already got a full schedule coming, and we're happy to know that you will be back with us.
Yes,
for
indeed.
MI Paracon 11.
I can't wait.
August. Yeah, so the hallways at Kuwait will be much fuller.
Indeed.
I hope so.
It's very strange being there without everybody there.
It is. It's a different feeling. That's for sure. Well, Dustin Pari, thank you so much, my friend, for coming on in. On behalf of everyone here at Creek and Door, we wish you and your family the best for the holiday season.
Thank you very much.
All right. We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to close things out with Creek and Door Paranormal Radio, powered by SlackJawPunks.com. Think of Michigan's Upper Peninsula as the scary attic sitting there above the rest of the state. I can think of no better guides to take you inside the history and lore than the guys of the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society. Those are the words from writer and lead researcher for the hit TV show Ghost Adventures, Jeff Belanger. For over 20 years, the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society has dedicated their lives to researching the paranormal. And now, some of their favorite cases are brought to life on the pages of their debut book, Supernatural Haunts. Come inside these pages with the team as they share intimately the history of each location and their experiences during their investigation. Learn their techniques and some of the most intense moments they have faced. True stories and true accounts of ghosts await you inside the pages of Supernatural Haunts by the Upper Peninsula Paranormal Research Society. Get your autographed copy today at www.supernaturalhaunts.com. And welcome back inside Creek and Door Paranormal Radio. Tim Ellis and Brad Blair with you as we are back for our final segment where we're going to check out some mailbag. And Dustin, psych! We're not letting you go anywhere. You're still tied
I was
to the chair.
so close.
that smile went to a frown so quickly. No, but thank you for sticking around one more segment.
Yeah,
because
Just one more zip tie and he would have been out of here.
That's right. But we close out every show with a mailbag segment for listeners to reach out to us through our website and our Facebook page. And we thought this one was just too perfect for you not to stick around.
All right.
All right. So this one comes from Grace out of Bay Village, Ohio. I actually had to check out Bay Village. I Googled it, and and it's actually a town about the size of Sault Ste. Marie, so very similar population-wise to where we are at here in the studios of Creaking Door. And Grace says, she goes, you two have mentioned before on how you and your team started in the field years before the TV show craze and have seen the change since then and the TV show popularity. I was wondering if you could share your perspective on how the TV show popularity has changed the field for better or for worse. Love the show. Thank you for giving some time to the listeners and helping me get through my commutes. Well, first of all, Grace, we appreciate the email. Thank you. And again, I mean, no better person to help answer this one than Mr. Dustin Pari, of course, who was with the original Ghost Hunters and then went on to Ghost Hunters at International. What year was it? What season was it when you came into Ghost Hunters, Dustin?
I came into Ghost Hunters in season 2, so I was like the original fanboy. Like it's, I had started investigating, when I was a teenager, prior to the TV shows and everything, and just would go around with my buddies and everything. And then one night I'm home watching TV, and I'm like, whoa, these guys get invited in people's houses and actually do this stuff. Like I'm used to getting chased out of places,
Right.
So I emailed everybody and emailed them again and again and again, and eventually, got to be a part of the team. And I was told I couldn't be on the show, but I could work locally. I was like, that's perfect. I was like, I already have 2 jobs. I don't need another one.
Yeah.
But then they brought me back in, and I got to be a part of the show, and it took off from there. But I think the television thing is nice, but it is like a double-edged sword. Like it was nice because it made it a lot more comfortable for us freaks, geeks, and weirdos to talk about this stuff.
Right.
It went from stuff you kind of whisper about with friends that you trust to water cooler conversation. What's on Ghost Hunters? What's on this show, that show, like whatever they are. So it made it a much more commonplace thing, and it made it easy to talk about. But of course, with everything else, you get a lot of snake oil salesmen, and then you get a lot of nonsense and BS. And I went through a phase where everybody was sensitive, everybody was psychic, and now everybody's an empath. Is like the new thing. And it's like, listen, I think a lot of people do have these abilities, for sure. But I think people are getting things confused too. Like being able to show empathy and to feel what somebody else feels and to care about what somebody else is going through is different than being empathic, know?
Right.
So all of us should be able to show empathy, but I think so many of us are so damn closed off that all of a sudden caring about somebody else and what their story is feels like we have a superpower.
Right. Right.
And everybody, the downside of the TV stuff is, every house has a portal, every house has a demon, like whatever the new, you gotta have a demon, you to have a portal and a demon in the basement, and it gets to the point where it gets to be a little bit too much, because I feel like not every house is haunted, and not everything that's out there is negative. But from somebody who worked in media for many years with CBS and Fox, like if it bleeds, it leads. Right. If somebody's crying, put a camera in their face. So that's what they go for. Yeah. So double-edged sword for sure. It made it easier to talk about, but then there's a lot of nonsense that goes with it too. So don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. The spirit world's very, very real, but don't believe everything you see on television. That goes for everything.
Yeah. It's an entertainment value. You got to remember that.
Absolutely. I mean, when we started back, whenever we put the official team together, I guess, was in the 90s sometime.
Yeah, late 90s.
Back then it was all about discretion. You were very discreet. You didn't say where you were going. If a family called you in, they didn't want people to know that they had someone coming in to investigate because they thought their house was haunted.
Yeah.
They didn't want their friends, their family, their neighbors to think they were nuts.
Yep.
So you just didn't talk about it. It was something you kept quiet. Nowadays, it's kind of a mantle that they wear, and it's if we come in and tell people, well, you've actually got issues with your electrical system. You've got issues with this that's causing.
Mad.
Yeah, it's that don't take away my ghost mentality.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, I mean, back when we started up, I think there were 4 or 5 teams in the entire state of Michigan. Now you've got one on every corner. Right. So if they don't like what you tell them, they'll keep bringing on the next and the next until somebody does, and then that's what they put out there, and that's what they're going to run with.
Those early years before, what changed it for us was the Ghost Hunters TV show. Prior to that, if we told people what we did, 9 times out of 10, they looked at us like we were nuts. Like, why would you even do this? Once Ghost Hunters came out, then all of a sudden it got to the point where we realized if a homeowner was calling us in, we had to be very serious about, you do not invite people over. I mean, it got to the point where they were inviting friends and family over to watch the Ghost Hunters.
It was a party.
You know, it was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was a house party.
Yeah, and so we've said it the very same way you did, Dustin. It truly is a double-edged sword. It opened up conversation. It made people more comfortable to talk about it, but then it also became...
Well, when we became the regional TAPS family team for the state of Michigan, and all of a sudden when you replied to someone that had sent into the TAPS family and they realized Jason and Grant weren't going to show up at their front door, you never heard back from them.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden the case wasn't
right.
It's important anymore. And in that, man, I remember when we first became the Northern Michigan chapter for TAPS family, the amount of emails we would get where everyone, again, because back then, and it wasn't Ghost Hunters, there were 2 other shows that were on it simultaneously, that every episode was a demon or a dark entity or an evil energy. And every email we were getting was, I think we've got a demon in our house. And it's like, first you got to talk them back from the ledge a little bit, and then open up conversation and really get to the bottom of what's going on. Yeah. So, truly a double-edged sword, but we can't deny its place in pop culture or in paranormal history, in what it
for
did.
sure.
Yeah,
for sure.
Awesome stuff. Well, hopefully, dude, you're gonna keep fighting the good fight and eventually get out there with the project you want to do.
Yeah, I hope so. If nothing else, I still go out and I do the work I want and do it the way I want. But if television gives me the right opportunity and lets me do things my way, then we'll play. But if not, no thanks.
Yeah, there you go. Awesome. You just keep reaching your fans, doing what you're doing.
That's right. Thank you.
There we go. Okay, once again, finally, Dustin Pari, we are going to untie you and let you go now. Again, happy holidays to you and your friends.
All right,
and
you
family.
guys too. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Dustin, for coming on in. All right, on behalf of my co-host Brad Blair and the producers of the show, my name's Tim Ellis. Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Creaking Door Paranormal Radio. Wishing all listeners a very happy and safe holiday season. We will get one more in before Christmas.
We will.
Plan anyway. It's on the schedule.
Yes, it's going to happen.
Yes, for sure. All right, and once again, remember, you can always find us on the platforms iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher. Coming soon. We've been told it's going to happen. Spotify, and of course our home at slackjawpunks.com. This has been Creaking Door Paranormal Radio.
The Creaking Door.